The desert keeps its secrets until one desperate bark forces them into the open. Marcus Hayes tasted rust and regret on the shotgun barrel as he sat alone in his Arizona kitchen, finger trembling on the trigger. 40 years old. 3 tours in Afghanistan, 6 brothers dead. 1 war dog gone. 0 reasons left to stay. I'm sorry, Thor, he whispered to the ghost that haunted him. I'm so damn tired. He counted 1, 2, 3, ready to end it. Then a sound cut through the desert stillness, barking. Distant, desperate. Marcus froze. That bark, he knew it. No, Thor had died 7 years ago. Hallucination, his mind said. Another cruel trick. The sound came again, weaker, pleading. He slowly lowered the gun, hands shaking, vision blurring. He grabbed his truck keys. One last thing, he muttered. Then I'm done. He had no idea he was driving toward the only reason he might ever need to keep living. Marcus had learned to live with ghosts. The 6 soldiers lost in the blast. The military working dog that once saved his life. The man he used to be before Afghanistan hollowed him out. At 40, he looked 60. Gaunt face, unkempt beard, eyes that hadn't known sleep in 7 years. The scar along his right forearm was a daily census, shrapnel from the IED that killed his team. His left leg still carried a limp. Physical pain was often easier than the guilt. The VA denied his benefits, insufficient evidence of PTSD, the $47,000 in medical debt, and the foreclosure notice taped to his fridge argued otherwise. 30 days to vacate the Arizona ranch that had been both sanctuary and prison. He lived alone, spoke to no one, and counted the hours until the pain would stop. Today was supposed to be that day. 10 miles east, 3 fragile lives spiraled toward the same edge. Margaret Walsh, 72, silver-haired and recently widowed again, sat on her porch with a broken arm in a sling. Her son Daniel, Border Patrol K-9 officer, had died of cancer 3 years earlier. The German Shepherd who had been Daniel's partner, Lady, had become too expensive to keep. Margaret had signed the euthanasia papers herself. That decision ate at her. Early-stage Alzheimer's ghosts crowded her thoughts she told no one about. Social Security's $1,200 a month didn't cover years of unpaid property taxes. The county threatened to seize her home. That night, she had laid out pills on her nightstand, determined the world would go quieter, and Elliot Brennan sat in his truck outside his ex-wife's house, watching his 8-year-old daughter play. Emma still bore the scar from the dog attack 2 years ago, the same attack that had destroyed everything for Elliot, his construction company bankrupt. $2.3 million in debt. His marriage collapsed. In a moment of terror and rage, he'd shot the family dog. Emma hadn't spoken since. Elliot told himself German shepherds were monsters. For 2 years, he'd been hunting them. 12 dogs already dead, locked in an abandoned bunker he'd found near the old border station. Today, he planned to bury the evidence. And himself. Marcus's old pickup rattled down the desert highway, air conditioning broken, windows down, 108 degrees outside. The heat meant nothing now. The barking tugged him like a hand on his sleeve. He passed Margaret's property. She waved frantically on the porch, but Marcus barely registered anyone. The sound alone pulled him on. He arrived at the condemned Border Patrol station. Closed after a mudslide destabilized its underground bunkers in 2019. Danger signs posted, unstable structure, no trespassing. The chain link had been cut recently. Tire tracks scarred the dirt. The barking echoed beyond the rubble. Marcus killed the engine and climbed out, the gun heavy at his hip. For a dizzy second, he wondered if he'd already died. And this was one last hallucination. But his boots crunched on sun-baked earth. Sweat slicked his spine. The dog's cries were real. Around a collapsed concrete wall, the bunker entrance gaped like a wound. There, half buried in concrete and dirt with only her head visible, was a German shepherd, tongue gray-blue from dehydration, panting in the killing heat. Black and tan coat, police dog coloring. Marcus dropped to his knees, hands in his hair. No, not again. The memory slammed into him. Thor, the explosion. The team he couldn't save. A PTSD wave hit. Breathe, count, ground yourself. The dog whimpered. He forced his eyes open. This wasn't Thor. This dog was female, smaller, alive just barely. When Marcus stepped forward, the dog didn't beg him. Her eyes fixed on the darkness deeper in the rubble. A rhythmic whine answered them every 30 seconds. Purposeful, urgent. Tires on gravel made him turn. Margaret's station wagon screeched to a stop. She limped toward the entrance. Marcus, thank God you heard it too, she panted. I called. I thought I was imagining things. She shuffled to the dog and saw the collar, the badge. Daniel, she breathed. Officer D. Walsh. Margaret reached past the rubble with her broken arm, trembling. The dog, weak, licked her fingers, but this wasn't an accident. Fresh tracks, deliberately collapsed entrance, a cruel intention. As Marcus dug away dirt, he uncovered a metal cage. 7 tiny forms huddled inside. Puppies, 2 already still. The kennel water was bone dry. The food bowl empty. Their paws bloody from frantic digging. The smell hit. Waste. Suffering. The kind of cruelty that made Marcus's old rage flare like a flare in the desert night. They went deeper. The bunker yawned into chambers of horror. 11 metal cages. 11 German shepherds. Some barely alive, 4 dead, messages spray-painted on the walls, dangerous dogs euthanized, and the chilling slogan, "Justice for Emma." Marcus's mind went tactical, no signal, no extrication equipment, a collapsing ceiling. 3 hours before the bunker failed. He'd faced impossible choices in Afghanistan, had chosen once and still lived with the body count. Here, with Margaret by his side and Lady's desperate nudges, he could not make that choice again. Margaret surprised him. "We don't choose, we stay. We save them all." She was 72, broken arm and all. She had a death wish that had become a reason to live. The ceiling cracked, dust rained down. Marcus checked his ruined watch. 3 hours, maybe less. In town, Elliot Brennan was preparing to arrive at 6, bringing a cement truck to bury the evidence forever. The race had begun. 3 hours to save 12 dogs and 7 puppies, or lose them to the desert and to a deeper darkness. The clock was ticking. Marcus ripped at the first cage, every strike echoing like a heartbeat in the suffocating bunker. The lock was heavy duty, but the bolts were old. He wedged a piece of rebar into the corroded frame and pulled with everything left in him. Metal screamed. Rust exploded and the cage gave way. The German shepherd inside collapsed. Male, 4 years old, half dead. His ribs heaved in shallow bursts. "Water," Marcus said hoarsely. "He needs water." Margaret scanned the room. No running taps, no supplies. Then she spotted moisture glistening on an old pipe above. Without hesitation, she tore a strip from her sleeve, wrapped it around the pipe, and squeezed. A few trembling drops fell into her palm. "There's a trickle," she whispered. "It's not much, but it's something." And so began their rhythm. Marcus pried cages open, while Margaret ferried those few drops of life, soaking her torn cloth and pressing it to parched tongues. The process was brutal. 3 minutes per trip, each animal desperate and skeletal. The first dog drank, vomited, then drank again. He'd live. Marcus moved to the second cage. An older female huddled in the corner, refusing to come out. His flashlight revealed why. Beside her lay a lifeless puppy. She guarded it fiercely, trembling. "Come on, girl," Marcus murmured. A weak growl answered. Then Margaret knelt, clutching her broken arm, and whispered, "I know what it's like to lose a child." She spoke softly, her voice trembling but sure, about Daniel, her son, about cancer, and the unbearable silence after he was gone. "But locking yourself in with pain doesn't bring them back," she said. "Your baby would want you to live." The dog's growl faded. She stepped forward, hesitant, broken, but alive. Marcus lifted her gently. "Skin and bone." 40 pounds of survival. The rhythm continued. Break free, hydrate, move on. Blood mixed with rust on Marcus's shredded hands. Every muscle screamed. His old war injury flared with each movement. He'd given his water to the dogs, saving them drop by drop. Margaret was no better. Her arm grotesquely swollen, face pale, breath ragged. But neither stopped, dog after dog, hope after hope. When they reached the 9th cage, Margaret suddenly said, "I almost did what you were going to do today." Marcus froze. "Sunday night," she continued. "Pills on the nightstand. My kids, they don't call anymore. I thought there was no reason to keep waking up." Marcus looked at her, silent. "But then I heard barking," she said softly. "Outside my window. Thought it was a dream, but it was real." "Let me hear." Marcus swallowed hard. "I had a gun in my mouth when I heard the same sound. Thought it was Thor, my war dog. He died in Afghanistan, maybe," Margaret said, eyes wet. "They both sent us here." Marcus didn't believe in signs, but he didn't argue. Then came the pregnant female. "Active labor, no time." Margaret steadied herself and said, "Hold the light." For 20 breathless minutes, she coached the mother through birth. 3 tiny, wet miracles. Alive, breathing, hope reborn in the ruins. 10 dogs saved. 2 left. Then Marcus spotted it. A blinking red light. A camera, recording. He pulled the SD card and played the footage. A man, mid-30s, eyes hollow, bringing dogs in cages, locking them in, talking to them. "You don't deserve to live," the man muttered on screen. "You're all monsters." Marcus fast-forwarded. The man returned 2 days ago with Lady, pregnant and terrified. He locked her in, then began collapsing the entrance. Before leaving, he faced the camera. "Forgive me, Emma. This is for you." Marcus's stomach dropped. Margaret gasped. "That's Elliot Brennan. His daughter was attacked by a dog 2 years ago. Everyone pitied him." Marcus checked the timestamps. Every 48 hours. "The last one?" 2 days ago. "He's coming back," Marcus said. "When?" He looked at his watch. 40 minutes. They stared at the two final cages, blocked by rubble. The choice was clear: run or stay. Marcus heard Thor's voice in his head. Never leave anyone behind. We finish this, he said. And they did. One dog after another until all 12 were free. 22 souls saved. Marcus slumped beside Margaret. For the first time in years, he laughed. We actually did it, Margaret smiled through tears. Daniel would be proud. Then, an engine, tires crunching gravel, footsteps. A man's voice echoed down. I don't know who's down there, but you need to leave. Now. Elliot Brennan stepped into the fading light, holding a gun. Marcus rose slowly, standing between him and the dogs. Easy, he said quietly. We're just here to help. Help? Elliot's voice broke. These monsters don't deserve help. His eyes locked on Lady and her puppies. His hand trembled, the gun shaking as if afraid of itself. Marcus stood firm. You will have to shoot me first, Elliot's voice cracked. Don't think I won't. The gun wavered. The air froze. You don't understand what they're capable of, what they take from you. Elliot Brennan's voice cracked through the bunker, trembling with fury and grief. His gun shook in his hand, aimed between Marcus and the terrified dogs. Margaret stepped forward despite the pain searing through her broken arm. Elliot Brennan, she said softly, her voice steady but compassionate. I know your mother from church. The gun wavered. Elliot froze, eyes wide with disbelief. Mrs. Walsh? He breathed. I know what happened to Emma, Margaret continued, her tone both tender and unflinching. I'm so deeply sorry. That little girl didn't deserve what happened to her. Tears began streaming down Elliot's face. His grip faltered. Then you understand, he said, his voice breaking. You understand why this has to happen. Why they all have to die. I understand pain, Margaret said gently. But this isn't the answer. You don't know anything about my pain. Elliot roared, his voice echoing off the concrete walls. The gun dropped slightly, his hand trembling uncontrollably. You don't know what it's like to watch your child's face get torn apart, to hear her scream, to see the blood, knowing you can't fix it. You can't undo it. You can't make it better. Marcus stepped forward, voice low but powerful. You're right, he said. We don't know your exact pain, but we know what it means to lose everything. Elliot's tear-streaked face turned toward him. I know what it's like to lose people because of one bad choice. Marcus continued. To see their faces every time I close my eyes. To wish I died instead of them. Something shifted in Elliot's expression. Recognition. Connection. The neighbor's dog attacked Emma. He muttered, but his voice had lost conviction. A German shepherd, just like these. The whole breed is dangerous. They're weapons. They shouldn't exist. Marcus's tone softened. Is that what really happened, Elliot? Silence. Then the truth broke loose, raw and ugly. The gun slipped from Elliot's grasp, clattering onto the concrete. He dropped to his knees. It was my dog, he choked out. Mine, not a neighbor's. His name was Max. I bought him for Emma's 5th birthday. Best day of her life. She loved that dog. His voice shattered. But one night, Max chewed my new shoes. I'd spent $400. Money we didn't have. I lost it. I grabbed him by the collar, hit him hard. Margaret's breath caught, tears filling her eyes. Emma tried to stop me. Elliot continued. She cried, Daddy, please don't hurt Max. But I was too angry. When I raised my hand again, Max thought I was going to hit her. His voice fell to a whisper. He tried to protect her. From me. Marcus closed his eyes. He bit Emma's face, he said quietly. Elliot nodded, sobbing. Because of me. Because I taught him violence. Because I was the monster, not him, but I couldn't face it. I couldn't live with what I'd done, so I blamed the breed. I blamed all of them. He looked up, face twisted in agony. I shot Max in front of her, my little girl. His voice broke completely. She screamed, and she hasn't spoken a word since that day. Margaret wept silently. My wife left, said I was a monster. She was right. Elliot's voice was barely a whisper now, but I couldn't accept it, so I hunted them instead. Every shepherd I killed, I told myself I was protecting people, but I was really just killing the part of myself I hated. He gestured toward the freed dogs. Now you've ruined it. You've saved them, and I have to face who I really am. He stared at the gun on the ground. I came here to bury the evidence, then bury myself. The cement truck's coming at 6. I was going to seal myself inside. Marcus crouched beside him. I know what you're feeling. No, you don't. I do, Marcus interrupted. 6 men died under my command, my brothers. I missed the IED. My war dog Thor tried to warn me. I didn't listen. He shoved me clear, took the blast himself. They died. I lived. Marcus's voice trembled but stayed firm. I've spent 7 years asking why I deserve to breathe when they don't. This morning, I put a gun in my mouth and started counting. Then I heard barking. I came here instead. He gestured toward Lady and her puppies. You're in pain, Elliot, but killing won't bring Emma back. It won't make her speak again. It'll just make you the monster you already fear you are. Elliot's voice cracked. Then what do I do? How do I live with it? You make it right, Marcus said firmly. Start now. Help us get these dogs out. Turn yourself in. Face what you've done, and spend the rest of your life making sure no one else does this again. Elliot's lip quivered. It's too late. Margaret's voice cut through the tension, strong despite her pain. It's never too late to stop doing wrong. My son used to say that. You can't undo the past, Elliot, but you can change what happens next. Then came the sound, a thunderous crack overhead. The bunker groaned, dust poured down in choking clouds. Marcus's instincts kicked in. Everyone out now. Dogs scattered toward gaps in the rubble. Lady grabbed one puppy by the scruff and bolted, but the main entrance was gone. Buried under collapsed concrete, Marcus assessed quickly. One option, a 15-foot climb through unstable debris. Impossible for Margaret. We dig, Marcus barked. Elliot hesitated, staring at his gun. Marcus's voice snapped like a whip. If you want to die, do it later. Right now, help me save her. Elliot looked at Lady, bleeding, still protecting her pups, and something broke inside him. I don't want to be a monster anymore, he whispered. Then stop being one, Marcus said. Elliot grabbed a rebar and started digging. Margaret guided them through weak points, her voice hoarse but sharp. Then, a rumble. A 200-pound slab tore loose, falling straight toward Margaret and the pups. Lady launched forward, shielding them with her body. The impact crushed her back. She didn't move, but she'd saved them all. When the dust cleared, she still breathed. Barely, Margaret cradled her head, sobbing. You protect even those who don't deserve it. Elliot stared, horrified. After everything I did, she still saved us. That's what they do, Marcus said softly. Even when we don't deserve it, the ceiling began to collapse for real now. They worked like demons. Marcus pulled Margaret through the hole, then Lady, then the pups. Elliot hesitated. I deserve to stay, he whispered. Maybe, Marcus said, extending his bloodied hand. But if you really want to make this right, start by surviving. Elliot took it. Together, they climbed out into the fading sunset as the bunker caved in behind them. They collapsed in the desert dust. 3 broken souls surrounded by 22 saved lives. 3 people who'd planned to die that day, but found something worth living for instead. The video began with Marcus's trembling hands and a voice that cracked under the weight of desperation. She saved my life, he said, eyes glistening. And now she's dying because I can't save hers. In that trembling confession, the world saw something raw and real. A man shattered by war, bleeding not for himself, but for a dog who had once shielded him from death. Lady needs surgery, $8,000. Marcus continued, his breath ragged. If we don't get it in 30 minutes, they'll put her down. He looked straight into the camera. If you believe broken things deserve second chances, if you believe loyalty should be rewarded, please help us. He posted the video everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then waited. 5 minutes passed. Nothing. 10 minutes. Still nothing. 15. Single notification. $250 from an anonymous donor. Then the flood began. Shares climbed like wildfire. Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. People from across the world sent $5, 20, 100. Comments poured in. She deserves to live. Stay strong. Soldier, we're with you. At 7:20 p.m., just 10 minutes before Lady's euthanasia deadline, the counter blinked. $8,000. Marcus exhaled, a sound between a sob and a laugh. Lady would live, but the miracle didn't stop there. Donations kept climbing. 10,000, 15, 25. It wasn't just money pouring in now. It was hope. People who'd lost faith in humanity were finding it again, all because of a dying dog and a broken man who refused to give up. That night, Dr. Chen performed the surgery. She worked tirelessly, repairing torn tissue, setting ribs, stopping internal bleeding. By dawn, Lady was still alive, fragile but breathing on her own. Marcus hadn't slept. He sat by Margaret's hospital bed, watching the heart monitor pulse in rhythm. The doctor's words haunted him. The next 24 hours will decide if she recovers. Her children were flying in from California. He didn't know what he'd say when they arrived. At 8 a.m., a knock broke the silence. A woman in a Navy suit stepped in. Calm, confident, carrying a tablet. Mr. Hayes? I'm Jennifer Ross from the Military Working Dog Reunification Program. Marcus blinked. I didn't call anyone. I know, she interrupted gently. I saw your video. Over 2 million views in 12 hours. She set her tablet down, scrolling through files. When I saw Lady's badge number in the footage, I cross-checked our database. She wasn't just a Border Patrol K-9, Marcus. Before that, she was military. She deployed to Afghanistan and with your unit. Marcus froze. That's impossible. Jennifer turned the screen toward him. There he was, a younger version of himself in dusty fatigues, smiling beside 2 German shepherds. One was Thor, his beloved partner. The other, smaller, female, was unmistakably Lady. You had 2 dogs, Marcus, Jennifer said softly. Thor and Lady Mog, a paired team? He shook his head, dizzy. No, I'd remember that. You don't because of the trauma, she said. Thor saved your life during the blast, but Lady pulled 2 other soldiers to safety before the explosion. Both dogs were caught in the blast. Thor died, or so you were told. Lady survived. Marcus's heart pounded. Fragments of memory surfaced. Barking, shouting, chaos, fire. He remembered being thrown backward, then blackness. After your injury, Jennifer continued, Lady was airlifted out while you were unconscious. She was reassigned to Border Patrol after recovery. You never knew because your mind blocked it out to protect you. Marcus gripped the chair. I forgot her. No, Jennifer said softly. Your mind protected you. She opened another file. And there's more. Another dog. Not Lady. The image showed a scarred German shepherd with one eye. Marcus's heart stuttered. That's Thor, he whispered. Jennifer nodded. This photo was taken 8 months ago in Pakistan. Marcus stared in disbelief. That's not possible. Thor died 7 years ago. He was injured, Jennifer said, but he lived. Local villagers rescued him. He stayed with a nomadic family for years. They believed he was divine. 6 months ago, aid workers found him, scanned his chip, and confirmed his identity. He's been in rehabilitation since. Marcus couldn't breathe. He's alive? He arrives today, Jennifer said. Phoenix Sky Harbor, 3 p.m. Would you like to be there? Marcus's answer was a whisper, a sob wrapped in a single word. Yes, Jennifer smiled softly. Your video saved Lady, but it also brought Thor home. Sometimes broken things find their way back to each other. She left Marcus in silence, staring at the photo of his old partner. For the first time in years, he felt something other than guilt. He felt grace. And miles away, at that same moment, a plane began its descent, carrying a one-eyed German shepherd named Thor, finally coming home. Sometimes, when the broken meet the broken, something extraordinary happens. Healing begins. They rolled Lady's crate into the room, careful and slow. The door creaked open. For a moment, time itself seemed to hold its breath. Lady lifted her weary head. Across the space, Thor turned his gaze toward her. 2 war dogs, 7 years apart, each carrying scars deeper than the flesh. Both survivors of battles they never asked to fight. Their eyes locked. Recognition struck like lightning. Without hesitation, they pressed against the barrier that divided them. Wheelchair to crate, breathing in rhythm. Wounded souls finding home in one another. Margaret's tears came first, then Robert's, then Sarah's. Even Jennifer, usually composed behind her camera, couldn't hide the tremor in her voice as she captured the moment. In that room stood 3 broken humans and 2 broken dogs. All found, all alive, all home at last, 3 months later. The bright lights of the federal courtroom glared down on Elliot Brennan, shackled hands, hollow eyes, facing the weight of justice. His charges filled the air like ghosts. Animal cruelty, conspiracy, destruction of evidence. The prosecution's case was airtight. Testimonies from Marcus and Margaret, videos from the bunker, records exposing 47 members of the hate group. 127 dogs rescued nationwide. The world now knew Elliot didn't fight it. He pleaded guilty to every count. When the judge called Marcus Hayes to the stand as a witness, the courtroom waited for condemnation. Instead, Marcus spoke words no one expected. Your Honor, Marcus began, his voice steady. I'm not here to condemn Elliot Brennan. I'm here to tell you. He saved my life. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Even the judge's gavel couldn't silence the sudden wave of whispers. When that bunker collapsed, Marcus continued, Elliot could have run. He could have saved himself and left us to die. But he didn't. He stayed. He dug us out. He risked his life for people he barely knew. And for dogs he was taught to hate. Marcus turned toward Elliot. If I got a second chance after planning to end my own life, if those 22 dogs got a second chance after being tortured, then Elliot deserves one too. Not to escape punishment, but to face it and become better. The judge leaned forward, eyes thoughtful. Mr. Brennan, you committed unspeakable acts, he said. You orchestrated cruelty. You led others down that path. These are crimes that demand justice. Elliot stood. I understand, Your Honor. I deserve whatever sentence you give me. The judge nodded slowly. Yet in the midst of evil, you showed something rare, remorse. You helped dismantle a network of abuse. You chose redemption over destruction. Therefore, your sentence will reflect both your crimes and your courage. The room held its breath as the verdict was read. 2 years in federal prison, 3 years probation, 500 hours of community service to be served at Second Chances Ranch, the rehabilitation center Marcus was founding. In addition, Elliot was ordered to fund a veterinary scholarship for injured rescue animals. Elliot's shoulders quaked. Thank you, Your Honor, he whispered. During recess, Sarah approached with their daughter, Emma, the little girl still bearing the faint scars of the past. Hadn't spoken in over 2 years. Thor and Lady sat beside Marcus. Certified therapy dogs now, symbols of resilience. Emma hesitated, trembling, then stepped forward. She knelt before Lady, her small hand hovering before gently landing on the dog's scarred head. Lady didn't move, just wagged her tail, slow and patient. Emma traced the marks along Lady's back, the same scars that once shielded lives. Her lips parted. I'm sorry you got hurt because people were mean to you, she whispered, her first words in 26 months. Sarah gasped, tears spilling. Emma's voice grew stronger. "You're a good dog. You saved people. You're not a monster." Then she looked up at her father across the courtroom. "Daddy, can we help the dogs too?" Elliot fell to his knees, arms around her. "Yes, baby," he said through tears. "Yes, we can." 9 months later, miracles took root. The GoFundMe Marcus launched raised $890,000, far beyond anyone's imagination. Medical bills paid, debts cleared, and still, hope overflowed. With what remained, Marcus transformed his failing ranch into Second Chances Ranch, a sanctuary where veterans with PTSD would heal alongside rescued dogs, broken soldiers, broken animals, mending each other one heartbeat at a time. Margaret moved into a small guest house on the property, her memory sharpened, her spirit renewed. Surrounded by family once again, she laughed more often than she cried. Robert and Sarah visited monthly, learning the weight of love rediscovered. Meanwhile, behind prison walls, Elliot wrote letters to Emma every day. He attended therapy, studied animal behavior, and learned compassion from the creatures he once misunderstood. Thor and Lady became the ranch's founding therapy dogs. Lady's 7 pups grew strong, each destined to carry forward her legacy. The largest, Thor Jr., was paired with a veteran still haunted by war. The smallest, Hope, waited patiently for Emma, for the day her father would finally come home. 1 year later, under the Arizona sun, hundreds gathered for the grand opening of Second Chances Ranch. A banner rippled above the gates, where broken soldiers meet broken dogs, and both heal together. Marcus stood tall at the podium, Thor at one side, Lady at the other, their 7 grown puppies arranged proudly before them. "A year ago," Marcus began, voice steady but full, "I put a gun in my mouth because I thought I had nothing left to live for." The crowd stilled. Then I heard barking. A dog who'd been buried alive was still fighting. She should have given up, but she didn't. She kept going. Because she had 7 reasons to. He gestured to the dogs. "That day she taught me something. That broken things can heal. That love is stronger than pain. That sometimes the ones we save end up saving us." The audience rose in thunderous applause as Marcus unveiled a memorial wall engraved with 127 names, dogs rescued, remembered, honored. And as the sun dipped low over the desert, the light of Second Chances Ranch burned bright, proof that even from the darkest places, redemption can rise, wagging its tail. Sometimes the greatest rescues aren't the ones caught on camera, they're the quiet ones. When broken souls choose to keep living. Jennifer Ross had become a familiar face around the ranch, her camera always slung over her shoulder, her heart tied to the story she helped the world see. Thanks to her, Second Chances Ranch was no longer just a sanctuary, it was a movement. Her latest project focused on expanding the program into 3 more states. Each video she posted told another story of redemption. Another veteran, another dog saved. Nearby, Dr. Sarah Chen sat beneath the white canopy with her fiancé, a fellow veterinarian she'd met while tending to the rescued dogs. Their laughter mingled with the warm hum of the evening. It was a celebration, 1 year since the ranch's founding. The sunset painted everything in shades of gold and forgiveness. Then a car pulled up. Conversations paused, cameras lowered. The door opened, and Elliot Brennan stepped out, escorted by a corrections officer. The crowd hushed, not in judgment, but in awe. He had been granted a 12-hour furlough to attend the ceremony. His steps were slow but steady, his eyes searching the faces around him until they found Sarah and Emma. Emma's face lit up. Without hesitation, she leapt from the car and ran straight to the puppy enclosure. There, waiting with wagging tail and shining eyes, was Hope, the smallest of Lady's puppies. The moment their eyes met, Hope bounded over, tumbling into Emma's arms. Emma giggled an unguarded, joyful laugh, the kind that had been missing for so long. Hope licked her face as she squealed with delight. "Can she come home with us when Daddy gets out?" Emma asked, looking between her parents. Sarah's eyes softened. She glanced at Elliot, and for a heartbeat, time stood still. Not reconciliation, something deeper, quieter, understanding, possibility. "We'll see, honey," Sarah said. "Not no, not yet, but not no." Elliot turned to Marcus Hayes, standing near the stage. "I don't deserve to be here," he said quietly. Marcus shook his head. "None of us deserve anything, Elliot, but we're here anyway. Might as well make it count." They stood side by side, watching the ranch come alive around them. 50 veterans working with their therapy dogs. Margaret laughing with her grandchildren. Thor and Lady resting beneath the shade, content and peaceful. "How many families are enrolled now?" Elliot asked. 50 veterans, Marcus said. "Another 100 on the waiting list. Jennifer's helping us expand to 3 more states next year." Elliot swallowed hard. "When I get out, I want to work here. Full time, whatever you need. I want to spend the rest of my life making up for what I did." Marcus studied him, his expression unreadable at first. Then he nodded. "It's not about making up for it," he said gently. "You can't undo the past, but you can build a different future. He extended his hand. "When you get out, there's a job waiting for you here." Elliot took it, tears streaming down his face. "Thank you." As night fell, the laughter faded, the crowd thinned. Only the core family remained. Marcus, Margaret, Thor, and Lady, the 4 survivors who had built something lasting from their pain. Thor and Lady lay side by side on the porch, eyes half closed, their muzzles gray with age. Above them, the stars slowly appeared, silent witnesses to everything they'd endured. Margaret leaned back in her chair. "A year ago I had pills on my nightstand," she said softly. "I thought no one needed me anymore." Marcus smiled faintly. "Today you've got 3 grandkids asleep in your guest house and 50 veterans who call you Grandma Margaret." She chuckled, wiping her eyes. "Funny how things change when you stop waiting to die and start looking for reasons to live." Marcus reached down to scratch Thor's head. The old war dog leaned into his hand, letting out that same low rumble of contentment he used to make in Afghanistan. "They say dogs are man's best friend," Marcus murmured. "But that's not quite right." Margaret turned to him. "What do they teach us then?" He smiled. "Loyalty when we've forgotten how to trust. Love when we've forgotten how to feel. And that it's never too late." Lady lifted her head, those same brown eyes that once pleaded for help from beneath the rubble now filled with peace. Marcus pulled out his phone and scrolled through the old rescue video, the one that started it all. Over 5 million views. Thousands of comments, thousands of lives touched. One comment stopped him cold. "I was planning to end it all tonight. Then I saw this video. I'm calling for help instead. Thank you for showing me broken things can heal." Marcus showed it to Margaret. She read it, tears filling her eyes. "We saved more than 22 animals that day," she whispered. "Yeah," Marcus said. "We saved each other." The stars turned overhead. Coyotes sang in the distance. The dogs barked softly from their kennels, not in distress but in conversation. The sounds of life continuing, healing, growing. White text faded in across the screen like film credits. Second Chances Ranch has helped 347 veterans and over 400 rescue dogs in its first year of operation. Elliot Brennan's testimony led to 46 arrests. The hate group dismantled. 27 dogs rescued nationwide. Thor lived to age 14. Lady to age 12, both surrounded by the family they saved. Marcus Hayes never attempted suicide again. He married Dr. Sarah Chen in 2026. Margaret, while celebrated her 73rd birthday with all her children and grandchildren, Elliot Brennan became a certified therapy dog trainer and director of the Ranch's Puppy Program. Emma Brennan's first full sentence in 2 years. "I love you. Hope." The Emma Brennan Second Chances Fund has since provided emergency care for 1,200 rescue dogs, born from one truth. Sometimes the ones we save end up saving us. The screen faded to black on a final image. Marcus and Margaret on the porch. Thor's head in Marcus's lap, Lady's in Margaret's. Around them, 7 grown puppies slept soundly, the stars above shimmering like blessings. A family not born, but chosen. Built from broken pieces, held together by loyalty, love, and the unshakable belief that second chances are real, if you're willing to dig through the rubble to find them.